Hi all. Thanks so much for taking the time to join us today for the next episode of UK and Ireland Leading Through Change webinar series. Together, we're facing a truly unprecedented situation. The global coronavirus pandemic is affecting all of our families, our businesses, our communities, and our way of life. In today's session, we want to take time to connect, learn to draw inspiration from one of the UK's leading retail brands, and navigate this time and this changing time together. But to start off, I really want to thank you all for taking time to join us today. We're all experiencing loads of change, and I know there's nothing more valuable than your time right now, so thank you for spending it together with us. So over the next 30 minutes or so, we're going to first quickly cover a few updates from Salesforce within the business community. Then we're going to take a look at the impact of COVID-19 on retailers and some of the online trends we've seen in our Salesforce Q1 shopping survey. Lastly, and I'm really excited about this part, I'm going to talk to our special guest, Eric Fergusson, who's the Director of eCommerce at Liberty, and find out a little bit more about how they're navigating through this crisis. We remain steadfastly focused on well-being of our customers, partners, and employees. Last week, we announced the launch of Work.com, which provides new technology solutions and resources to help businesses and community leaders around the world reopen safely, reskill employees, and respond efficiently on the heels of the COVID-19 pandemic. Please go to Work.com for the latest thinking models, advice, and solutions to help you. Our team here at Salesforce continues to focus on sourcing personal protective equipment, or PPE, for healthcare workers who continue to do incredible work. In partnership with the Daily Mail newspaper, we delivered a plane load of surgical masks and coveralls to the UK National Health System, or the NHS. And to date, we've helped deliver PPE to over 193 healthcare facilities across 10 states in the US and sourced more than 50 million units for hospital systems in the US, UK, France, and India, together through our partnership with UCSF, our healthcare system in San Francisco. Now, I want to take a quick look at the online retail trends being driven by COVID-19 in the UK. So since the government ordered the closing of all non-essential businesses, consumers have had to shift their lives and purchasing patterns overnight. As they can no longer shop, socialize, or partake in well-being activities in the way they used to, they're turning to digital ways of fulfilling these needs. Across the UK, we've seen innovative brands come up with new ways to connect consumers, from restaurants offering cook-at-home kits, gyms delivering home workout content, and grocery stores becoming frontline workers in the pandemic. We've looked at the activity of more than 1 billion global shoppers in our Q1 shopping survey, and the main shifts that we see are the following. Unique digital shoppers rose 17%, digital traffic grew by 15%, and shoppers spent on average an extra 7% per order. So there's been a huge growth in digital spending since the beginning of the pandemic. And this wasn't just seen in essential goods like food and personal care items, as you might expect. Home goods experienced an unprecedented 51% year-over-year global increase. Active apparel saw a 31% year-over-year spike, and toys and games had a 34% growth year-over-year. This is perhaps unsurprising, with many people at home finishing DIY projects, looking to entertain children, or get fit and manage stress with exercise. Undoubtedly, this global crisis will shift consumer behavior forever. And though the lessons we've learned from analyzing many holiday shopping seasons, most consumers will continue to operate in this new digital normal long after this crisis subsides. Now, I'm delighted to be joined today by our guest speaker, Eric Fergusson, the Director of eCommerce at Liberty, to share how they're navigating through this crisis and redefining retail experiences in an online-only world. So Eric, I'm a huge Liberty fan. I first experienced Liberty when I moved to the UK 8 years ago, and I stumbled upon this magnificent store, walked in. It took me a while to make it past the vintage jewelry on the bottom floor, and I think I might want to spend the last days of my life on the first floor of Liberty and drown myself in Alexander McQueen or Rick Owens, as it may be. So I'm a massive fan and love how you continue to update with things like the Maria Tosh shop in the bottom and continue to really have heritage there. So you know you have a great fan who's willing to walk back into that store the second it opens back up. But I'm really keen to learn a little bit about the e-commerce side of the business. So really thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Linda. It really is a pleasure. It's as you say, Liberty is an amazing business. It's a place that so many of our customers have such a kind of deep and fond affection to. And one of the motivations I had for joining Liberty was very early memory from the age of 7 or 8 when my father was looking to buy a carpet, and I remember going into the great hall and the rugs were thrown over the banisters, and it really is a very special physical space. We're beyond the store, also well known for our fabric, and we have a team of designers who create 2 collections a year, and we own a factory in Italy where fabric's made, and indeed it's just reopened following some of the relaxation there. One of the things that Liberty is not particularly well known for, in contrast to that 140-year history of store and of fabric, is digital commerce and e-commerce. That's changed in the last few years, and it's been growing rapidly. We've tripled the business in the last 3 years prior to this pandemic. But now suddenly this business, which is all about discovering the finest, most beautiful, engaging products from across the world, across categories, and place them in this beautiful, engaging, creaky, charismatic building, is suddenly all about web, because that's the only source of or a place where customers can engage with us at the moment, whether it's to ask queries or to shop. So it's been like for everyone a real moment of change. We've had concerns and challenges, but it's been a real pivotal moment where together we're all now focusing on the web. I mean, I think in terms of kind of commercial behavior, we've seen, like some of the statistics you spoke to, a real uplift in engagement. We've had uplift in traffic, good uplift in conversion. We've been broadly tracking it, 40-50% growth in the prior years off a small base. That growth rate's more than doubled now. We're in triple-digit plus. We've seen a lot of interest in jewelry. You spoke about Maria Tash. I mean, what a fantastic product that is. What a fantastic range we have. That as an area has been something that people really have been willing to shop into. I try and understand it. I think it's a great gifting activity, and people aren't able to go out and eat. They're not able to go out and go to the theatre or other traditional birthday or special occasions. But jewelry you can wear whenever and always feel special. And we've seen a good strong uplift in that.
I still have mine on every day at home, so working from home, still decked out in Maria Tash. Fear not. What was the impact of COVID-19 on your business initially, and how did you respond internally?
When we first heard about it, it was clearly a global problem, but it took a good number of weeks before it really came to fore in the UK. But we did start seeing footfall begin to drop, and then as we understood, the nature of this disease in greater detail, we quite quickly took the decision to close the store for the safety of our customers and of course our staff, which meant that our website was the only place that was still trading. I mean, obviously commercially for a business that is still very dominated by the store, it has had a significant impact in terms of drop in revenue. But we've seen a good shift in some of that demand to online. I mean, in terms of what we've done to support that, we've had to kind of rapidly target some of our operations because our dispatch volumes are 2-3 times what we planned. Our customer service queries are 2-3 times what we expected. So we've had to kind of scale up those functions, whether it's by extending shifts or using, for customer services, we've used technology to help kind of preempt some customer queries and enable customers to effectively solve some of their own queries before then phoning and contacting us if they're unable to. Internally, we've also started using some technologies we hadn't really used before. So much as we're a heritage business in terms of our building and the product that we source and buy, many of our ways of working really weren't leading edge. We haven't had a particularly popular user working from home. We haven't historically used many sharing tools or documents. and that's clearly had to change on its head. You know, we prior to official guidance, we all started working from home. That meant we had to get a lot of people laptops. Not everyone had a laptop. Not everyone had the capability to work from home. We've immediately shifted to using you know, technology where we can have conference calls, whether it's, you know, Zoom or Teams and so on. And that first week was difficult. You know, I think without question, that first week was really difficult. Having been a business where we're quite small, you could drop by people's desks, you could speak to them and raise any question that you wanted to. We were suddenly away from that and using technology. But after a couple of weeks, that picked up quite quickly. I think as a leadership team, we felt the pressure to answer a lot of questions that were understandably coming from our team. You know, people want certainty. And this meant that we moved from having kind of weekly leadership meetings to at one point kind of daily leadership meetings, often ran for a good number of hours, talking through, you know, some of the key issues that we've had to talk through, whether it's furloughing, whether it's this, you know, the store being shut, communications out to customers, official, you know, official statements, policies, etc. So there's been a lot for us to address, but you know, I think that, you know, a real positive has been how adaptable we, you know, as people are, you know, and that's not a Liberty specific thing. I think it's you know, there's such a tendency to be cautious of change, cautious of new things, but when you're thrust into it, you know, the response has been really really impressive, and that's been, you know, from across the business, whether it's a customer services team who are now responding to customer queries, whether it's people involved in picking and packing and handling queries who had never done before. You know, that agility and has been, you know, it's been really positive. So, you know, I'd encourage people to worry less about how things might work and just, you know, give people the opportunity, and in most instances they succeed.
It's been really amazing, and you brought up two really good points there. One is that, first of all, the just massive amount of decisions that we're making as leaders, with a lot of information that we don't know. So it's kind of one of these, you know, asking everyone to be patient with us, because we are, you know, even as leaders, doing the best we can in this unprecedented moment. And also this piece on agility, and it's kind of funny because we can't unsee what we've seen for the last, you know, 3 months, and the ways that our preconceived notions were in terms of how we could work or couldn't work, have now fundamentally shifted. And, you know, your customers' world has shifted as well. I imagine that's shifted some of your offering as well. So how's that really changed in this online-only world? I know I shared some of the trends previously, but where have you seen that shift, or your offering shift?
We have a fantastic fabric range and fantastic haberdashery range supporting that, and patterns, and we've seen a huge rise in dressmaking, in quilting, in home crafting, and we've tried to support that with content and with you know, Instagram tutorials and videos and news pieces and interviews with you know, leading quilters and our designer of fabric, Marianne Dunkley. So it's that. As a theme, it's always been strong for us. It's always been important. It's really at the core of who we are. But we've just had a real surge in interest and bite of it from our customers, and it's a really pleasing thing for people to partake in, because it clearly brings people delight and joy as well as peace. You know, because you tackle a project and you work through it, and then you've got something that people are very proud of at the end. So that's been a real area of growth. A second has been really about, you know, people effectively sprucing up their home, being inspired by, you know, whether it's our dining, whether it's our, you know, pause. The second piece has really been about home. So we've spent so much more time at home. We found people looking for desk ornaments. We found people looking for clocks. We found people looking for dining. Just nice, tactile, beautiful objects of desire and interest, which may serve some purpose. They might just serve something of delight and beauty to behold. But when you're spending so much more time at home, that's a real treat, and something that a lot of people have engaged with. And the third area which you spoke to very much, is beauty, and we've seen a real drive in whether it's skincare or cosmetics, but it's and bath care and so on. We've found that customers look for comfort, they look for nostalgia, they're looking for things that are interesting. And where better to find those than at Liberty, where we go out and curate and find these things. You'll find these things which you won't be able to find elsewhere, and customers have just got that little bit more time now to engage, to seek that interesting thing, to find out a little bit more and work with it.
And you touched on this a little bit, but in terms of how you're communicating with customers, that must have changed a lot now that you can't offer the in-store Liberty experience, which is just so absolutely unique. So really, how are you thinking about how you communicate with customers differently at this time?
I mean, you're absolutely spot on. I mean, it's been, again, really, a real opportunity for us to try new things. So we still do email. Email is a very important communication channel for us. And I think like many retailers, we found customers are engaging more than ever with our emails. So open rates are up, engagement, click-through, read-through have increased. We've always had a strong editorial element to our emails and our communication because of what we are, because of the fact that we are a place to discover, because we go out and talk and find makers. And so we interview those makers, and we showcase their stories, their skills, their talents, and that's a key part of emails. But we've started bringing that across different touch points. We have a twice yearly book, which is a 100-page, beautiful, picture-heavy, content-heavy discovery about our store, about our fabrics, about our designers. And we've started bringing that across touch points, whether that is snippets on Instagram, whether that's on Facebook, whether that is on through our affiliates and channels like that. We've also started a few new initiatives. So we started up a craft club. So I spoke about how haberdashery and fabrics have grown so well and it's seen so much engagement. Well, we started up a craft club on Instagram, and that's got a lot of customers are participating with that. It's really nice. We started quite a lot of Instagram stories. So we have interviews or short videos with some of our lead buyers or our lead designers. Our buying director spent a full day a couple of weeks ago answering customer queries on beauty routines, on her favorite products for face care, beauty, etc. And it's, she had over 400 conversations running through that day. We are blessed. If you come to our store, as you said, you have the most engaging customer service experience. You will meet brilliant characters who are passionate about the product. They know the history, and they can advise you if it's fashion, if it's accessories, how to style it, how to wear it. If it's home, they'll advise you on how to decorate, how to accessorize any room. If it's beauty, you will get the same sort of consultation. Now, the challenge for us is how do we bring that to customers digitally? And I think the next steps for us are really around this concept called clienteling, which is quite a hot topic at the moment, but it's really about trying to enable customers wherever they are to not only be able to buy from us wherever they are, but to actually engage, discover, and talk to us wherever they are. And that's something we're really looking into.
Sounds dangerous for me, actually, or my budget, as it may be. But I know it's early to tell, but what do you really see changing in your business once we're on the other side of this pandemic?
I think what we've seen is a real uplift in engagement through online. And that has part been driven by necessity. Customers can't go to stores, they can't go out. It's also been driven, I suspect, by choice. So were customers able to go to the pub or to their local restaurant or cinema or art gallery, I think it unlikely that you'll get a full resurgence next week in the same level that we saw back in December and January. I think on a similar level, it will be right for us to assume that through the second half of the year and probably next year, we'll have some reticence of customers to go to store, as much as we will see that those that have engaged in shopping online will have enjoyed it and will seek to continue ongoing in the future. But I think at the crux of it, what we've seen is an acceleration of this term omni-channel, which we've been talking about for 10 years. It's customers like products, they like engagement, they like browsing, they like shopping, and in different moments, they like to communicate and engage in different ways. And sometimes that's a very customer-driven, I just want to search and find and buy because I know what I want. I'm repurchasing my Aesop hand soap. I don't need a consultation for that. I just want to buy it as easily as possible. But other times, I'm buying a gift or it's a special occasion and I want to get my new Maria Tash earrings because I really enjoy the ones I got before, and this is a special moment and I've had this real moment of success and I want to celebrate it. A good number of those customers are going to carry on going to the store once they're in a position that they will be able to do so safely. Because why wouldn't you? It's still going to be a beautiful store where you get that expert advice. But we're going to have that middle ground where customers are going to realize that they can engage with that expertise that they found in stores in the past, and they're now going to be able to do it online. And I think we'll probably see the converse too. So in short, I think we've seen an acceleration of engagement through digital channels, and I think we'll see some of that continue.
So do you have any tips for other retailers that are navigating this same crisis or for thinking about life on the other side?
It's so uncertain at the moment, and the magnitudes of what we're talking about are colossal. So if anyone recalls their budgeting at the end of last year, they'll have been talking about 2% here or maybe 10% there, or if it was a really big thing, maybe 20% there. What we've seen has been epic in comparison to that. And I think we will have a degree of uncertainty for a good amount of time, but I think that shouldn't drive inactivity. I think we should gain confidence that customers like doing things. They like product, they like stories, they like beauty, they like touch, feel. Those human behaviors haven't changed. We just need, as retailers and brands, to understand what those are and to test and trial. And through agility, we can see what resonates and we can see what doesn't. And we can do a little bit more of what does and a little bit less of what doesn't. And rather than feeling that we should know for certain when 100% of customers are coming back to store or when everyone will be allowed on the underground, these are questions that no one can answer. But I think if we understand what customers are likely to gain pleasure and delight out of and test and try and support those, we'll be all in a much better place.
Thank you so much for chatting with me today, Eric. It's really great to see how you guys are weathering the storm and thinking about the online piece and thinking about what Liberty will look like on the other side of this crisis. Please know that I will be one of the first in line to walk up some creaking stairs and really look forward to that return because what an experience it is. But in the meantime, I'll make sure to go online and do my part as well. So just before I wrap up today, I just wanted to share some more details on our new work.com platform, which is host to expert advice and content to help you reopen, reskill, and reimagine your workforce. We all saw the Prime Minister's address to the nation on Sunday, and businesses are responding with plans to transition teams safely back to some of the normality. So visit work.com today to get advice on thinking from leading experts, access our COVID-19 data hub to help you make informed decisions, and read up on customer success stories around how they're getting back to work. Thank you so much again to Eric for joining us, and thank you all for watching. Keep safe and well.